So in my video about the first exposure test for my UV exposure unit, which should be somewhere here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, and of course card and link. I cut some photosensitized PCB board using actually a knife and cutting it a few times on one side and then a few times on the other side, and that worked actually quite good, surprisingly good. I mean, there were at the where you break it off, there was a big burr because the copper was not actually how shall I say it, was not really cut, but got out of the way. It's a soft metal, so it got out of the way of the blade and created a burr. But anyway, I was searching for something better, and I think well, it's an experiment, I found something. And that is a cute little table saw. I mean, this is really, it's little. I mean, it's 29 centimeters width, so a little over 11 inch. It's 26 centimeters in depth, so about 10 inch, and it's 17 centimeters high, so about 7 inch. So it's really tiny, and yeah, Proxxon makes those tiny tools. And if you remember, I had a very bad experience with, I mean, I had a very good experience with one Proxxon tool, card link, that was the drilling machine, and a very bad experience with Proxxon, if I don't run out of cards and links, card link. Yeah, my theory is the old Proxxon stuff is better. Yeah, maybe because I'm also old, or yeah, the bean counters have not had not the say in the company back then. I don't know. I also seem to see a pattern here between their stuff for industry and their stuff for hobbyists. Anyway, this is clearly for hobbyists, but it's an old model that is no longer in production for a while, I think, for years. And it's the I have it here, the Proxxon FKS/E. There's a successor to this, and it's a little bit bigger. It can do a little bit more, but it misses an adjustment for your RPMs, which is especially if you're doing small stuff, extremely important. And yeah, I don't know if you can read that down here. Let me try to zoom in. Yeah, but it has, especially here on the scale for the RPM settings, it says something. Okay, you can't read that, but it says diamond, so diamond cutting tools for PCBs and glass fiber. And there you need low RPMs, of course. And yeah, that old thing does it, and I scored that basically. Yeah, it's kind of a side business of eBay where you can really do one-to-one private sales locally without really involving eBay with the payments. So, and that's exactly what happens here. I got that inside of the town from a very nice lady who used that. Yeah, she's in the creative business somehow, but was always a little scared of it. And if we have a look at the blade she was using, I can totally understand that. So anyway, so you can adjust the RPMs between 4,400 and 6,800. You can use saw blades with a diameter between 85 and 50 millimeters or 3.3 and 2 inches. Small saw. And center hole on the blades is 10 millimeters or 0.39 inches. Maximum cutting depth, of course, with the 85 millimeter 3.3 inches blades is 22 millimeters or 0.87 inch. It's a small saw, and the motor is 200 watts. Okay, and important, if you look at Amazon for all these tools, they either get very, very good reviews, or you have some reviews who simply state, okay, the thing died immediately. And here's the thing. These small tools usually have a duty cycle. And the duty cycle for that machine in the documentation is after 10 minutes on, 15 minutes off. And I suspect that a whole lot of people don't read it because, shame on Proxxon, they don't exactly advertise it on their website, in the product description, that that thing has a duty cycle. Which you have to, duty cycle is not 100%, it's after 10 minutes on, 50 minutes off to cool off the motor. And if you don't do that, if you run it for more than 10 minutes under load, and I think the 10 minutes is for heavy load, bad things happens. And here are the dimensions again. So you have the adjustment for the RPMs, and if I some protective gear stuff, and let's see what came with it. That were the screws where that was attached to a desk. You should never run it not attached to a desk, just as a disclaimer. You have this tiny little thingy here if you want to cut something at an angle. It's more a plaything, I guess, but might be, I mean, for cutting boards, might be okay. And you got a nice parallel, and first thing you notice about that parallel, if you look, I think I already put a card and a link to it, about the review of the drill stand, which had also parallel. This parallel, if you fasten it, there is absolutely nothing moving. So that's sturdy, and since this is a real tear down, clean up, and so on, we can put that aside. You can see the construction here with the nut. That's okay. So I put that all aside for the moment here. We've seen that thingy which goes over the blade, so you don't cut yourself. And I will show you that again. We saw this. We saw this, and the manual. Interesting thing about the manual, right at the end, you probably can't see that in a YouTube video, but I try to give you a shot of that. Every part has a number, which you can order as spare part. That's so that's something Proxxon is known for, and you obviously get still spare parts for that one. Yeah, that's very nice. What else do we have from the outside? I mean, of course, you can here with screw and counter screw, you can have a look here, what's happening here. I'm putting that on top of it. You can adjust the height of the blade. Yeah, and then fix that. And you can fixing that in the other direction, sorry. So, and you can let me open this again. You can, of course, if I get that loose, and you can adjust the angle of the blade up to 45 degrees. Yeah, so I leave that floating for the moment because I think we need that. Yeah, another thing, you can put out a table extension here. I mean, if you're in woodworking, you would probably do, I don't know, 1/2 inch or 1/4 inch plywood with that. Small parts, you know, for building models or whatever. I think that's okay. Yeah, nothing interesting on that side. We come back to that here later. This is a warning label stating that you should pull the plug before opening the screw. I wonder why. And last but not least, the back side, where you can, with an additional adapter, attach a vacuum. So everything is clean, and especially, I'm focus here, especially when you're cutting PCB material, that's a real boon. I mean, having here some suction and getting the glass fiber or other stuff sucked away and not flying around, that's very nice. Turn it apart, right? But, you know, I'm a little bit, you know, curious. So, let me actually fix that in position, and then it's on off, and plug it in, and okay, I'm not doing anything to the microphone, and switch it on with the lowest RPM, 4,400. That's not too bad. Going up to max RPM. Okay. I can do that every time of the day because I have no direct neighbors to this room. But yeah, cleaning this thing will be definitely something I have to do, and I will unplug it before we open the dangerous screw. That was this one. But before I do that, I need a screwdriver. So I also got you down from your high place. So Yeah, that's a bit awkward, but yeah, that's definitely a screw, and then okay. Okay, so obviously the previous owner was not so much into cleaning, which we will remedy right now. So, but this has obviously here some pockets which are empty. Yeah, I don't think I need to screw that apart, do I? No. Yeah, let me get a shop vacuum. Okay, got my shop vacuum right at my side. Come here, little boy. Yeah, it's actually a Hitachi. I also have a Karcher. I don't know how you pronounce that in English. It's a German company, a big yellow monster, and you need ear protection to run that. This is actually, yeah, bearable. Okay, and I will use that to clean that out right now. Have no fear. We will, of course, take that a little bit more apart any second now. I'm just going over the procedure for changing the saw blade. So for further disassembly, I will take the saw blade out, and I'm just looking for the right keys I need for that. So turning, getting the blade out is actually quite an adventure. So they say you should get the blade completely out, which I can do, no problem. Okay, and then you should put the whole thing on 30 degrees, also not a problem. And for the rest I get you up again. So first of all, get that plate off with 2 Phillips screws. That's okay. And I'm just looking if they have been... okay, they have been just a wee bit mishandled. Yeah, I just want to go with a file over here. I mean, they are still, they don't really, I get the focus. Yeah, a little bar here. Just a little bit of the wrong size Phillips screwdriver applied. Sorry. And shit happens. I mean, you can, these are standard screws. You can probably replace them, but why? Okay, here we have the plate. This is, as most things from Proxxon, aluminum. Yeah, it's clean enough. So let's, sorry, put that aside for a moment. Oh, there's some glue Oh no, it's coming off. No problem. So, and this is also a little bit adjustable. Okay, that was part one of removing the blade. Then what you can't see here at the end, you should insert a 2mm Allen key until it engages, and it has no. So I was desperately searching for a 3mm Allen key, and yeah, you're supposed now. And all I could find was this. So yeah, that's not too hard. And then I guess this is a long screw. This comes off, and this doesn't feel like aluminum. That's steel. Mild steel, I guess, but nevertheless, steel. And then the blade should come off. And then you see it really has a tiny hole in the middle. And this is also only a 80mm blade. So yeah, maybe 3-inch. And it's actually a nice small blade, so it really has these hard metal teeth, and yeah, that's nice for cutting stuff. But not the stuff I want to be cutting. I mean, this would be wasteful. Yeah, to cut boards with it. And here we see more dirt, obviously. So, let me clean again. Sorry, I'm a clean guy. Yeah, how to get this thing further apart. I mean, it seems it should be quite easy to... Oh, something moved. To take the desk off, and of course the whole assembly here is glued to the desk. So sorry, we should probably just open these 4 outer screws, which should be quite long. No, they aren't. That's a little bit disconcerting. I mean, I could look at that, you know, at that drawing in the manual, but yeah, where's the fun in that? Okay, my guess is now... Okay. No luck, we need these 2 screws here too, but... this is a little bit harder than I thought. Let's first down here get this stuff here off. And then we have only this little guy here left. Okay, this is really just a piece of aluminum. Oh no. Maybe it's steel. I don't care. Now we can't move anything still. So I'm turning this now and everything inside is free swinging. Upside down. And I'm now removing these 4 screws. No. Here is one. And now we can still do nothing because somehow I fear below that plate another screw is hidden somewhere. So yeah, I need another screwdriver for that. Okay, be back with some screwdrivers. And I don't like to use an electric screwdriver for that stuff, because then you have no feel what you are actually doing, if you're destroying something or if it feels like it should come apart this way. Oh, we found the electronics and we found the 4th screw. Somehow I highly doubt that this is supposed to come apart this way. Yeah, well, but when we're in here, we can have a look-see, can't we? Okay, now I'm throwing around screws which have all the same length. That's a real plus in this situation. Okay, so yeah, mains comes in. It's really yeah, start a construction here, and then we go to this board which is just slid in. Trying to get it out without destroying something. And yeah, let's have a look at it. Yeah, they seem... okay. Let's get into the meat of things, huh? First have a look at the back side of the board, and you can already see, yeah, the hand soldered parts here. Okay, if at one point the electronics start working, I know where to look for. Yeah, mains comes in, a MOF, not bad, filter capacitors, common mode choke, and I guess this thyristor together with these 2 capacitors, yeah, is running the motor, and on the other side we have transformer, bridge rectifier, smoothing capacitor, and then we have here some trannies and 2 chips, and let me look them up right now. This is a dual comparator 2903D from GRC. And these are quite advanced TLP 561 zero voltage crossing turn on photo triacs. So here we have the isolation between the control side, yeah, the low voltage side, and the high voltage side with the triac. Back to the business at hand. down here there was yet another screw. So yeah, that one is much thicker. Yeah, I guess I will reinsert the electronics. And now we should be able to... Yeah, something is giving way. Oh, you need a better perspective to appreciate that. And there's still coming a lot of shmoo out here. And okay, I see two problems. First, the earthing I will have to remove, and second, the motor. The motor is quite easy because that's actually a cable. That was easy. Oh, And now I'm losing screws all around, which makes me a little bit nervous. Give me a second here. Okay, I found all my screws, but it's definitely time again for a little vacuum action. Okay, this should be sufficient for the moment. What I really want to know is how to detach, turning around, the earth, and I see it right here. That's not the way it's done, is it? No, I suspect I have to take that part, which is metal, out. Yeah, there actually also some of the screws are on the back. I was able to lift that out, and that would have been much easier if I loosened up the screws of the motor, I guess. So okay, this goes in first, then comes the motor, okay? I mean, this is now, yeah, I'll show you in a moment after I cleaned up a little bit more. But first, let's get finally rid of that earthing thingy here. Yeah, they could have put here in a little bit longer cable, I guess. Just, you know, for convenience. Okay, so that was the part you remember where yeah, the scale is and where you adjust the blade in. And yeah, it's cast aluminum. And then we have the upper part of the case with basically the brain box. Yeah, we looked at that. The brain box is now falling out on that side. And a compartment. And there shouldn't be, from the electronics, there shouldn't be too much power dissipation. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's a trike motor regulator, so yeah, nothing should happen, but yeah, let's clean that up and put it out of the way. Yeah, what I like about this is that the electronic is really in an, in a nicely encapsulated private compartment, so yeah, it's not watertight, but yeah, the branch of the dust will be kept out. Now, with that out of the way, we can actually fiddle around a little bit and get the rest of the plastic housing of the table with the motor and yeah, give that a nice clean. Okay, we're done with that too, and I guess we're slowly but surely getting into the meat of the things, which would be the table with the attached motor. So the whole motor assembly is actually connected to the table by two, and these are not screws, these are bolts, because as I've learned in English, they are bolts because they have nuts at the other end. So let's try if I can loosen these up. And nobody mishandled that screw head yet. So factory wise, okay. The nut. Sorry, I went out of focus there. So actually what these two bolts and nuts do, they hold down just this plate, and this plate holds down this pin here. So the whole motor assembly, at the end of the day, I mean, besides what's going on here, pivots around that steel pin, which I won't remove. I clean that up and put the screws back in, and then we can put the table away. So I meanwhile cleaned up the motor assembly a little bit and removed that shield that was here, and the blade is running inside the shield, and that should, in theory, redirect all debris downwards. Okay, let's put that aside and have a look at the motor assembly. There is a small Allen key here. Okay, this is really the tiniest of set screws. No. I'll put that in another place. And that does absolutely nothing. So this was the hole where you can put something in to block the axle. It has a hole. But this is not really moving. Before I destroy something, I give up on that part and put the set screw back in. And we try to approach the whole thing from that side here. Oh, and by the way, the motor cable is also secured. So yeah, nice details. Maybe we can have a look at the motor that way. I mean, the whole assembly is two parts and comes apart if you manage to get out the axle. So yeah, there's your motor, and it's really in a metal case. You know what's coming. Some cleaning, and there's only very little dust in here, sawdust, which is a good thing, I guess. The cooling salve is stamped aluminum. Okay, I guess we need to loosen these screws. And we can get the thingy off. So, there you have a belt. And Mitsubishi. Not Mitsubishi, Mitsubishi. So, as we've come so far, I guess, sorry. I guess we can get the motor out. And we need to loosen the screw too. Yeah, maybe I should remove that spring. And, that's definitely a very sturdy motor, and it's completely encapsulated. And you see it has only 2 wires, and the other one is, as we had before, is earth. And let's see if I can find out something about that motor. No, I don't get that open. I won't disassemble the motor, but I will look up that number. You know what? It says DC, 230 volts. DC. So this must be, and I do not feel, I mean, it's quite hefty, but I don't feel any permanent magnet action, but only 2 wires. Let me look that up. Okay, I couldn't find anything about it, but I think, I mean, I already mentioned I don't feel any, torque changes when I'm turning it, so it's probably not a permanent magnet motor. And okay, I put the mic near it. You heard that? That is probably, the commutator. So the graphite or whatever brushes, when you turn it around its wrong direction. Yeah, let's clean that up. I really must say this is, I mean, for 200 watts, this is a huge motor. Okay, it's probably not permanent magnet, but yeah, it's nice and big, and I'm actually wondering if the duty cycle of 10 minutes is, if really the motor is the cause for it, or the encapsulated electronics, that they simply get too hot for their own good. Yeah. So I haven't given up quite yet. I mean, one way to find out what a motor that is, I mean, I already told you, I cannot really feel any permanent magnet action here. So, like some stepping in the torque I need. And we already heard it has a commutator at the back, so 2 or more brushes, changing the polarity of the DC that's coming in. If I connect an ammeter to the input, then turning the thing, you can see it gets really hard, and I'm in the milliamp range here, so yeah, I get here peaks over 100 milliamp just from turning it that way. So yeah, that's definitely a permanent magnet DC motor with commutator and all. Okay, it's the next day. It's quite hot here currently, and we should try to get that thing together again. So I guess this will go something like this. Yes, indeed, I do have a problem with the cable. So maybe, just maybe, just an idea, the cable was coming out down here, because there's also a cutout for the cable. Okay, now everything is also a little bit wobbly, which it should be. Just put on the washers and the nuts, just loosely. Okay, that's easy to see. That's an easy one, because you see here these marks where it has been screwed down, so we do it in exactly the same spot. Looking on that side, all the cables seems to be happy and have room to wiggle. Now there's a small matter of getting that thing on again. Okay, there's absolutely, I mean, this is really made to fit, and lengthwise here everything is fine. Okay, now the little matter of attaching the motor again to the table. You remember there were only... And oh, yeah, by the way, I totally cleaned up the table. And yeah, there was something smashed into it here, or was scratched over it, so there was a little burr, and I had to work that out, just sanding it down a little bit, and yeah, I removed all the other adhesive, or what it is. It's a nice, shiny, very flat table again. Yeah, so the thing is, sorry, well, give you a little bit different perspective. The thing is below that plate. Oh, do you know what? We forgot something. We forgot something at the motor. Just remembered. Well, spring. Otherwise, yeah. That's for the height adjustment. That was easy. So what I was gonna say is here goes a saw blade. Oh, I forgot another thing on the motor, obviously. Okay, there's only one way this can go on here. Yeah, famous last words. And we forgot another part. I'm sorry. It's too hot. There was this nice shield which goes to the other side, I think, over the mounting of the blade. This is just to, yeah, I mentioned it before, to redirect any debris downwards so it doesn't fly around wildly. Okay, but now we have to, here's the blade, here's the opening for the blade, to attach this pivot point back here with that plate here. And I'm just thinking if there's any reason why this plate is not symmetric, and I guess it's that way around. But that's, you know, that's a really wild guess at this point. But I feel I should use a spanner back here. Not just hand fastening, kind of. Okay, that's a metric 7. Now for the little, oh no, wait, there was another part somewhere. Yeah. I know. And that part had 4 screws. Yeah. And that was for the ground connection. It's actually easier if you don't put the 2 parts together, but you let an airspace, and then you can get the screws in. Fastening that very lightly on all sides. That is before I completely fasten it. I attach the indicator. You see, there's a little bit of adjustment room here. Okay, we have to adjust that later. I just put it in and put that knob on. The motor stays in place, and yeah, the motor assembly stays in place and doesn't dislodge from here while I'm torquing down these screws all around. Okay, yeah, the next part to go on is the plastic frame. Maybe this way around. Ah, okay. Yeah, fits like a glove. And now comes kind of a tricky operation. Getting the top half attached again to the bottom half. And there was somewhere, I remember, maybe I do it this way around. Oh. Uh, Sorry. I remember the earthing screw here. Connecting the motor is easy, but I will first connect the earth. That was mains earth. And now we connect the motor, and then we can close the whole thing up again. 4 screws here and one was in the electronics compartment. Now closing up the electronics compartment. Getting the 0-degree marker back on track. And we need the height adjustment screw. And we put it again on 30-degree because we have to reattach the saw blade. I will not attach the old saw blade, but I have something brand spanking new. And that is diamond coated. I mean, they call it a saw blade, but it's obviously a cutting blade. And maybe we can just check if it's really 0 degrees or perpendicular. One part that was delivered with the saw. Yeah. No. I think for that 50mm blade we just go without that extra protection, huh? And the last thing is actually that guy thingy. Oh yeah, and I also debarred these screws. In the beginning I showed that there were some, somebody was using the wrong Phillips screwdriver. That revision or maintenance store, so no, you have access to the innards to go in there and clean it without taking it apart. And now it's time for the big moment, I guess. Will it still make some noise when I switch it on? And what kind of noise will it be? Okay. RPM low and... Oh, it's vibrating. Okay, so I won't be able to attach the iPod holder to the same desk I'm running that on because that's an earthquake. So, spare parts. Oh, not really spare parts, but you know what I mean. Yeah, you won't cut off your finger using that diamond blade here. So yeah, that was the Proxxon FSKA, unfortunately no longer produced. Nice little thing, teared down almost completely, but for the motor. And tools used 3mm Allen key, 2mm Allen key, Phillips, what's that? PH2, Phillips PH1, and Phillips PZ, PZ0, and for the large screw, it's all metric. It's a European tool, maybe made in Germany or somewhere. 7mm flathead, and something else. Yeah, I think it was the 7 or 6. I think it was the 6 wrench. And 8mm nut. And here's a little tip for your non-metric dinosaurs. Instead of an 8mm nut, you can almost take a 5/16 nut. It will work. Kindish. It will work. So, yeah. Complete destruction, disassembly, teardown, whatever. Cleaning the whole thing up, making it really nice and shiny again, and reassembly. One of my overly long videos. Bye.